What? No theme music, nah?
Gusto, now Chris the host. Man, I make a little dinner while busting joke. Come to the yard, get it off your chest. There's no hard feelings when you're rocking with the best. Everything's crisp, everything's nice. Throw a little sugar, add a little spice. Ask all questions, cook a little rice. Gamble like Vegas and throw a little dice.
Raise a glass and make a toast. Drop by Chris for a Sunday roast. Or 8 days of his mixology. Get twisted and not off the Hennessy. Now your belly's full, play a game of ball. Gusto, he's coming from the old school. No if buts, maybes, whys. No silly questions, I tell no lies.
Everything Chris. Everything Chris. Everything Chris. Everything Chris. Everything Chris. Everything Chris. Everything Chris.
Live talks with the Gypsy baller, Mr. Tanner Adu.
How we doing?
All good, bro. All good. How are you?
Good. I'm alright, man. I'm alright.
Yeah.
Got the legend here, people.
Oh, mate. I'm telling you, I felt a bit nervous coming on here. I'd stay low key, you know.
Oh, it's cool, man. It's cool, bro. It's everything Chris with me, you know how it is.
Yeah, I hear that. No, I'm loving it. Like, loving all the interviews and all of that, man. It's big.
Oh, thank you, man. Appreciate it, man. How you been, man? How you been dealing with all this quarantine, though, man?
I'm not going to lie, yeah. Everyone's situation is different, innit? But
yeah.
I'm on furlough. So if you told me 2 months ago, do you know what? Have 2 months off of work. All you got to do is stay at home. I'll be like, yeah, cool. You know what I mean? But
yeah, it's true.
But yeah, it's scary, man. It's scary because my mum's here from Cyprus. My mum's from Cyprus, basically, and she's stuck here now. So every time I leave the house, I'm like scared to come back because I don't want to give it to her. Do you know what I mean? And, yeah. It's quite scary, man. But
I get that side of it.
Yeah, you got to look at it positively, you know. You got time to do stuff that you were never able to do when you're working and stuff like that. So, yeah, I'm all right, man.
Yeah,
yourself?
Taking a positive from it, man, yeah. For me, yeah, I've taken a positive from it as well. Just kind of you know, look, because I was doing recording shows and then when this came in, I kind of was like stuck. So I just thought, you know, so might as well wait till all this stuff is done and then I'll get back to recording. But then some of my guys just told me do some live recordings and see what happens. And
you get that little head start, you know what I mean? Like,
so give everyone a
start recording.
So I've done some recordings, but I've got more to do. So I'm gonna release it and let everyone see it anyway. So
okay, yeah. I hear that, man.
Yeah, man. So it's been, but yeah. So I've taken a positive, man. Not looking all negative side of it. You gotta do it like that. You know what I mean?
What you gotta do at these times, man.
So is that where you're from then? Cyprus originally?
Yeah, I'm half Cypriot, half Nigerian.
Oh, okay.
Don't ask how my mum and dad met at them times, but yeah. Do you know what? I actually don't. My dad was a doctor, like most Nigerians, you know what I mean? And he went to the hospital and he must have spit that game, you know. And
oh, dad is spitting a game. Doctor as well, bro. That's what gave me more points.
That's what I'm saying.
Dude, so what? So was you born over there or was you born over here?
No, I was born here. I was born in London, yeah.
Oh, London, yeah?
Yeah.
Oh, see, whereabouts?
I'm from Walthamstow, man.
Oh, north.
East.
East, north, yes, east, yeah.
But it's crazy how many people don't know I'm from London. They think I'm from Manchester or somewhere up there.
Do you know what? I've heard that. Yeah, I've heard that since. I've heard a lot of people say you were from Manchester, so I don't. But then when I hear you talk, it's like, huh? What? You sure it's Manchester?
Yeah.
What? You got a connection with Manchester then?
Yeah. I lived there for 2 years, man.
Okay, all right. Manchester Magic.
Yeah.
Was that the same time Gil was there?
Yep. Orlan.
Oh,
Our team was stacked. But we'll get into
Talk us through that journey, man. Talk us through that Manchester Magic journey, man.
Manchester, that was probably one of the best decisions I made joining that club, because it kind of put me on the map, sort of thing. And just the team, man. The team was just stacked, and everyone got on. You know, we did the treble that year. You know, it was like everyone was together. It was the most harmonious team I've been on. You know, we go out together, we, you know, live together, play together. It was a great experience, man.
Was that D1?
Yeah, D1. And that's where I really, like, I don't think I was really respected that much as a baller before that. But when we played there, we, and I know loads of people are going to be like, he's talking about it again, but we did the treble, and in the playoffs, so in the playoffs, right, I was starting all season, and it was like the final four. And when the final four was on back then, it was like you played the semi-finals Saturday and then the finals on Sunday. So I remember in the semi-finals, Jeff Jones, he didn't start me. Like, and I had like such an ego about like starting and stuff like that. And it was like, so I was angry, man. So I killed that game. We played Bristol Flyers. Killed that game. I had like 26. So I was like, I'm going to start in the final, you know, like, again, didn't start in the final. I was like, oh. But in the game, he brought me and Orlan on in like after 5 minutes. And like, I hit my first free, hit another
free. Is this Orlan Jackman, Orlan?
Yeah, Orlan Jackman, man.
I didn't know he was that Magic.
Yeah. Sorry, he was like a X Factor sort of thing, coming off the bench and just giving energy. Yeah. So, like, I hit the first couple of threes, and then the game was just a blur. And then I ended up with like 25. And when they were announcing the MVP, they started reading off my stats. I was like, 5 from 5 from 3, 9 from 9 from the line, 4 from 4 from field goal percentage. And I realised I hadn't missed the whole game. The whole game I was 100%. So I was like, yeah, that's what kind of got put you up there. And then, from there, I was able to make a little career.
That's dope, man. So talk about, what's his name, Orlan there then, man. How was he, like, because he must have been young back then when he played.
Yeah, he was, 19, I think. He just had energy, man. Like, he was the X factor on that team. Because that team, if I tell you about, like, we had me, Stephen Gill, we had Stephen Gale as well, like a walking bucket.
Stephen Gale and Stephen Gill.
Yeah, both of them.
Oh yeah, Stephen Gale. Yeah. He's an automatic man. Yeah.
Orlan, we had Duncan Ogilvie as well, who was baller.
Was Tintin there as well?
Nah, he was at Reading. So that's who we played against in the final, Reading Rockets.
Okay.
And then we had like 2 D1 Americans, and we had a Canadian sharpshooter. It was just like, we had 2 starting 5s, man. It was deep.
Damn.
It was deep. Yeah, it's a shout for one of the best teams in D1, I reckon.
In history, damn. Manchester United always had a good program, though, man. They really had a great program. Like they had a D3 team when I first played at Leeds, and that opened my eyes a bit. Like the young kids still like under 18 playing in D3, and they were killing people. But I was like, that's a what the hell they feed these kids in Manchester.
what the key is with Manchester is they have their own facility. So when I was playing there, you're talking about everyone under 18 have access to that gym every day.
Serious?
So it's like, and they're watching us train. Some of them, the kids will shoot with me, like when I'm going for practice, like just to shoot around. So it was like, that's why their junior programs are so like successful, you know, because they have their own facility. That's the major thing there. And there's not too much competition. There's only Manchester Magic juniors.
Okay.
Now there's a couple other ones, but like that was the main one. So because you imagine if London had one team.
London, yeah. You know what I mean? And I could imagine that with Manchester, from what it sounds like, everyone's fighting for a spot, and if you had to be the best of the best, and if you didn't get the opportunity,
exactly. But in London, it gets a bit more diluted because there's so many teams, so you get 2 of the best players on each team. Rather Manchester, it's just everyone together. So yeah, it was it was a wicked time, man. Like probably my most favourite season in terms of winning and just off the court and you know the way they treat you and stuff like that. It was
dope, man. I think that's one of the main things this country is missing, man. It's like a lot of teams don't have their own facilities. It's always using leisure centres or something, and then you know you have to book the hall out, and they can't practice as much as they like to practice. Exactly. So I think with Manchester, like they said, you know, the youth was just like the key, and they invested into they invested into the team more. If you know what I mean, they weren't relying on other people.
That's like, what it is, man. That's exactly what it is. Like it was all about like the main guy there, Joe Forber, who was the one that kind of found John Amici. He didn't want Manchester Magic to go to the BBL because he wanted his younger players to play D1 and not lose their eligibility for America. So that was their key. It was just their juniors, you know. So
that's the same. Sounds like the same setup Jimmy Rogers had with Brixton because he never wanted to go BBL.
No.
His main focus was always the youngest coming up. He said the kids first, and then the kids will follow you. So you have to focus on the kids, which I liked about that. Leeds had the similar setup. Did you ever play Leeds at that time? Was they come after you?
We played them in cup games, so it was like when all the leagues. So we would play the teams in D2 and D3.
Okay.
But it's funny because Matt Newby, he coached me at a summer kind of tournament called Street to Elite, and like that tournament was kind of ahead of the game. Like it was all about anti-knife crime and stuff like that. And Matt Newby was my coach, so my team was like Orlan was on my team on that as well. And Matt Newby told me on that day that he was gonna try and go like up the leagues and then into the BBL. He told me on that day, and then to see him do it was like, you know, hats off to you. You know, you set out to do it. You know,
he had a plan, man. It was sad what happened, you know, because he was doing the right things in the BBL, and then don't know what happened back then. It was just like, I was like, damn. Because as soon as he left, it's like, well, now it's just gone downhill because you can't do what he was doing. He had it as a manager. He had it on lock. He knew what to do and had things in the right place. But he's at Worcester now, so he's doing great things there. So I'm sure he can turn out. Yeah. So Newbie then. So someone wants to know back then, what was Newbie like as a coach back then?
At that time, right, I'll tell the truth, right? So the people on my team, we were kind of like, who is he? Do you know what I mean? Because he was only coaching D3, you know? But he was very like, it was easy to talk to him. So I never met him before, and we sat down, we talked for about an hour about his plans and stuff like that. And like, I think he's really cool. And the fact that, you know, I've kept in contact through my work when I was at Basketball England, because he had loads of junior programs. I funded his Leeds Force club for like loads of like satellite clubs and different programs to get involved. Yeah, and he's always been wicked, man. I like Newbie. In terms of like him coaching, he just let us do what we wanted. That our team was stacked, so he just kind of like just let us do what we were doing. So I don't really know too much about how good he is as a coach, sort of thing. But he's doing something right, you know.
He is right. I remember him coaching at Leeds, and the same thing. Some of the guys didn't know how to take him because they didn't respect him as a player as much. But you got to take your hats off again because he was managing the whole facilities. He managed the academy very well. The program was like had it locked in, and then they went up D1. I remember him in D1 when he had lad. Pardon?
I said people don't understand how stressful to run a whole program from the top to bottom really is. You know,
it's stress, man.
He's done a good job.
And people always wanted. And what I didn't like though, I do have to be on his side a lot more of it, is where how people wanted so much from him, but he was giving so much. It's like what more do you want the man to do? Like he's doing this, like whatever he used to give me, I used to be fine with it. So yeah, whatever, I take that and then just leave him to it, man, because he doesn't need that extra stress. He used to have conversations with me though, because he used to sit down and tell me things that people were taking liberties with him, and I used to tell him, I'm sorry to hear that, but I can't say anything to that. But we used to sit and talk about so much stuff, man, like just life. Like he had his daughter.
Person, man. He's a good guy, man. He's a good guy for sure.
Like talk about our children. Like we both had children at the time, so mine was a bit older than his, and he was just talking about how I dealt with being a father and studying, and it was it was an interesting time, man. And I saw him again at Worcester, so I went to his game at Worcester. So that was good as well, man, to see. And he seemed a bit more happier there now. He got a fresh team and everything. So he's doing good. He's doing good bits there, man. So shout out to Newbie, man. Coach Jones, man. Talk to us about Coach Jones, man. Your relationship with him, man.
Jeff Jones.
Yeah.
Do you know what? We hated each other on the court. He hated me, honestly, because if you think he had a team with the guards were me, Stephen Gell, and Steph Gill, right? All of us love to shoot, innit? Like, all of us were trying to score. So, like, he was trying to mould us into, like, a proper, complete basketballer. But we were too hard-headed. So, like, on the court, it's like, I knew he only played me because he knew I was going to score. But off the court, he's one of the funniest guys, man, honestly. He's just a joker, absolute joker. The whole family, I love the whole family, man. Like he's
two sons, isn't it?
And Callum and James, and then Georgia Jones as well.
And there's daughter.
Yeah. So, like he's just a joker. I remember, like he's got a bad back in it.
Okay.
So he walks a bit like that all the time, and there was one time in practice, right? He went to kind of like sit on a table.
Yeah.
The table just collapsed, right? So he's on the floor. He's on the floor trying to get up. And like everyone's like, we don't know whether we should laugh. We don't know whether And I just heard him say, Jesus, Mary and Joseph. Like that was his favourite term. Jesus, Mary and Joseph. And like he was trying to get up, but he couldn't get up. You know what I mean? But,
like a fish, man.
He was funny, man. He was funny. But he taught me a lot. He taught me a lot, man.
Seems like Manchester taught everyone a lot there, man. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, backtracking a bit, man. So what got you into basketball anyway, man, from a young age? When did you fall in love with the game?
Yeah, so as I've heard a lot of other people say, I used to play football, right? So
yeah, I've heard that phrase.
Yeah, so basically I was just all about football. My older brother, he was really good at football as well. He went to school with David Beckham, and he was on the school team with him and stuff like that. So like he was just, and to be fair, I'm a massive Arsenal fan. Like I don't miss Arsenal games.
Yeah, same here. Gunners.
Yeah, you see what I'm saying? So so it was all about football, and then it was crazy. London Towers come to my school, and Danny Lewis, who's one of the best BBL players I've ever seen. He did a coaching session with us. So after the coaching session, he gave us all a ticket to go to Wembley to watch the game.
All right.
So we traipsed all the way to Wembley, and it was just like, wow, like, is this what basketball is? It was almost like it was the NBA. Do you know what I mean? Because you're in Wembley, I bought a flag, everything. It was like crazy. So in my school, it kind of like changed from at lunchtime we'd have half football, half basketball. But we never really had a basketball hoop. So we had this little round air vent on the wall to shoot at the air vent. And then one of my closest friends, Carl Henry, he was a baller, absolute baller. He said to me he's playing for a team called Waltham Forest Spitfires. So they were kind of a new team. So you had the powerhouses like Hackney, you had Richmond, and you had Brixton. But Brixton was kind of not in our conference, so I didn't really them. So it was Hackney most time. So I joined. I was like, do you know what? I'm gonna come to the session. And I was quite. I was a person that liked my own comfort zone, so I didn't like trying out at places where I didn't know people. But I went, and the first thing the coach said, his name was Tom. So he was a fat white guy with glasses. Literally didn't leave his seat. He was just coached the whole session from a chair.
In the chair.
So he was just like, as soon as I got in, he was like, shoot a free. And that's all I liked doing at that point, you know what I mean? So I shot free, made it. He was like, all right, train. So started training, and then like that squad kind of built up of just our friendship group that could play. So I did that, and what was frustrating was we would always get to the playoffs, but we'd always play Hackney in the first round of the playoffs.
White Heat.
Yeah, White Heat. And they were they had like Jeffrey Danchi, Sam Tolawasi, Juju. Pops was there for a little bit, and like they were just animals, and they're just different. They're just like their whole mentality is so different. You know what I mean? Like that hard work sort of thing. So as a junior, all I wanted to do was to be able to beat them and beat Richmond, because Richmond was the other one that were like, we viewed them as posh boys.
All right, were they good though?
Yeah, there was Steve Veer, Wallid.
Oh, them guys are Wallid.
Van. So they had a team as well, but we always were like, they always come in with their big diamond earrings, and like, we were like, these guys are some.
You want to punish them, innit?
Yeah. All I wanted to do was beat them teams, you know what I mean? I knew we weren't going to win anything, but I wanted to beat them. And the first time we beat Hackney was at London Youth Games. And it was such a bump, because we played 3 Hackney teams in the youth games. So like every borough had Hackney players. Like, so we beat Haringey in the quarters. We beat another Hackney team, borough, in the semis, and then I played against Jeffrey Danchi in the finals, and we ended up winning the London Youth Games. And then when we won the Youth Games, I had the opportunity to join Hackney. And me and Jeffrey Danchi, we actually went to the same college. And like, what happened? This is what I'm saying about why it's so good. Safeguarding is in place at the moment, because I went back to practice to tell my coach, that Tom guy, that I was leaving. And I can't even repeat. I think my daughter's watching. I can't even repeat the words that this guy, he was calling me poison, like shouting in my face. This little short guy was like, "You're poison, you're effing this, you're effing that." I was a bit intimidated, so I actually ended up staying at Waltham Forest Spitfires instead of going to Hackney. So
why did he flip out like that? Because you want to leave?
Yeah, yeah. It was in front of everyone in practice as well, in front of everyone. So at this time, I hadn't really committed to basketball because I was still playing football.
Yeah.
And a lot of people don't know this, but I was such a bad kid. Like, when I was younger, I used to get in a lot of trouble with like gangs and stuff like that. And I got in a lot of trouble. I won't go too much into it, but fast forward.
Okay, we can discuss that a bit later.
Fast forward about 5-6 months, and like I joined Monarchs College, so we had half Hackney White Heat, half Spitfires. So if you put into consideration like what the EABL is now,
Yeah.
we won it 2 years in a row without losing a game. So we were
decent, undefeated.
Yeah. So at this point, I just joined a semi-pro team at football as well. And
okay, so you did 2 sports.
It was taking its toll on my body because back then we didn't have wooden floors and all of that playing basketball. It was concrete floor. Then I was
it depends.
football. And my mum was just like, do you know what? Like, she kind of said, like, as a question, but she was telling me, she was like, what are you going to choose? And then I was like, I was more leading towards football because I was getting first team games for the semi-pro team. And then you start getting money and stuff like that. And my mum was like, nah, you're going to choose basketball because at this time I had an offer to go to an academy in Middlesbrough. Now, in them times, there was no academies. There was only 2 academies in the whole of England. So London just had teams, like basketball teams, but there was no academies. So my mum was just like, I want you to join this academy so you get to London.
So basketball academy in Middlesbrough?
Yeah, there was one in Middlesbrough and there was one in Durham.
Yeah, okay. I didn't know that.
So my mum was like, yeah, you're going to do that because you're getting into too much trouble over here, like in London.
Yeah.
So I went up there and there's a guy called Tony Hansen. Yeah, unfortunately, he died 2 years ago.
Name sounds familiar.
Yeah, so he was in the NBA. He would play for UConn and he'd come over and what he did is he set up an academy and he pulled people out from London and Birmingham and started...
Yeah, because Birmingham did have some ballers as well.
Yeah.
Where Birmingham had a lot of ballers.
And back then as well, there was like a lot. So
there was a lot.
I went up there and he took us to like a restaurant. He took us to show us where we'd live in a like 3-bedroom house. As soon as I saw all of that, I was like, bam, I'm going.
So,
you know what I mean? And at that time, I don't know if you know Paul Douglas, Dougie, the coach.
But it sounds familiar, remember?
From Nottingham. He took a session, right? And I was like, this is the best coach I've ever seen or been coached by in my life. You know what I mean? So I was like so pro going there. And basically when I got there, he left. So I was like,
what the hell?
What am I going to do? Luckily enough, I bet you didn't know this, Creon Raftopoulos.
Yeah, I know Creon.
Coach.
Oh, serious?
Yeah.
Creon.
So Creon coached me 2 years in juniors. And the thing that Creon had was like, sorry, let me just say, hi, Erin, it's my daughter.
Oh, yeah. What's up, Erin?
Creon, what he did is he put in a system that allowed players to play their game. So where all up until that point, I was just told I was hard-headed and blah, 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 selfish.
And what? Yeah.
He just found a way to get, because we had so many, we had Michael Gale, Martin Gale's brother, from Birmingham as well.
Okay, I know Martin Gale.
Martin is his older brother. So we had a stacked team and he just put in a system to let us play. But, so Creon was like one of the main coaches in my career in like shaping the way I played.
So as Creon, so how his coaching style? How was it? How did you feel it benefited you in terms of not just basketball in life as well?
His coaching style, just in basketball, I'll say first, was like, instead of trying to change players drastically, change his system to fit the players. So that's what really helped us, because I played freely, and you're playing your best basketball when you're not thinking every 2 minutes, I've got to be here, I've got to be there. Do you know what I mean? So it was like, and that's how I coach now, and that's from Creon, you know. And off the court, he was really there for us, because it sounded great, but it was a struggle, because you're thinking we're 17, 18 years old, living by ourselves. Like, living off of corned beef and rice and you know, like, I didn't know about that type of stuff. You
had to grow up quick, I know that.
Yeah, my boy Josh, luckily he knew about this stuff, so he was like, listen, if you want to save money, just get a couple of cans of corned beef, bit of rice, that's you. So yeah, it was tough. Like, we would go weeks without electricity and stuff, like, because we weren't making money. You know, like, it was just the academy program. So Creon helped us out off the court as well.
So you had to find jobs in the academy then?
No, I never had a job in my life until I was like 32. Like, my mum supported me like 100%. I wouldn't be anywhere near where I was without my mum, because my mum knew I wanted to do basketball, and she helped me and supported me do that when I was younger. So, so that allowed me to do it.
Did you help you out with the bills and that at the time up there then?
No, we didn't have no bills, but like, obviously when you're getting your pocket money, like, we're kids, we just spend it, you know what I mean? So spend it all on a night out and then go a week without electricity. You know what I mean? Just that one night out sort of thing. It was tough, man, but one of the main things that taught me, like, that I learned up there was, there was so many ballers that played for their D1 team that I was just like in amazement. They had, I don't know if you heard of EJ Harrison. EJ
Harrison.
He played for Scottish.
He sounds familiar. I've heard of him.
He come to that team from just winning the NCAA tournament with UConn.
Okay. Did he play at Teesside as well?
Yeah. He was on the men's team.
That's it, yeah. He played, my brother played with him at one point. So, at Teesside.
That's what I'm saying. So there was him. So there was a couple of phases. There was him. There was a guy called Ralph Bucci, who he led the league in every category for like 2 seasons in a row. Rebounds, assists, points. They had John Tresvant, who won the McDonald's All-American dunk competition. And then after Jason Swain, who's one of the best shooters I've ever seen in my life.
That guy can shoot.
One of the best shooters. I was speaking to Walid the other day. We said it's either him or Pete Depish that are the best shooters.
Like my brother made a little. We spoke about him one time in a car, just driving in Germany, and he was just like, he said he just loved Jason Swain because he was a true professional of being a specialist. Yeah, it's like he was great at doing what he did best. He wouldn't try and dribble, or he wouldn't try and put in the post. He would shoot the right shot at the right time, and he'd make that shit. Like Jason Swain was a professional. He was a professional. Like.
He still played last year.
He was Dragons.
Yeah,
with his son. Yeah.
So I'm saying, like, he was a joke. He was a joke. But then after they Ralph Bucci went to play in Greece, like top league in Greece, and he played there for 6 years. So they left, and then Marcus come. So then Marcus come, and like Marcus was one of the players that I was just like, this guy can go, man.
He's a dog, innit?
I was amazed by, like, he was just so good. And then I started playing for the first team.
Yeah.
So after Marcus left, then you had another influx of London people like Damien Modest, Snoop, like the old and one Callister Woods. if people don't know about Calliston Woods, yeah.
Yes, and whoa,
he was a problem. Absolute
them handles,
problem.
bro.
Honestly.
He was good. I liked Callister Wood. I remember him at Rough and Ready. Him and Damien.
Yeah.
Oh, Rough and Ready had some.
And you know what?
Ballers.
Like, I'm still friends with Damien, Modest now. Like, they were just such cool people off the court. And Calliston as well. He's very quiet, but he was just like really cool. But at this time, I was like getting a bit frustrated because people before me, they went to America. I felt like I was getting kept for the D1 team because I was becoming a main player for the D1 team.
Okay, yeah.
So it was a bit of a frustrating time for me. So yeah, I just had to go out and do it myself. Like I think it was Kofi. He was like, I emailed 100 agents.
Yeah. Kofi said that.
Same with colleges. You know what I mean? In America, I was just emailing like. So what happened was, one of my old teammates from my academy, he was at a JUCO, and he basically, his coach at the JUCO got a head coach job at NAIA school in New Orleans. Yeah. And he was like, yo, he wants a combo guard. Can you send me a tape? We didn't have tapes. We didn't really have.
No, back then there was no YouTube and that, no phones.
But I had one cassette of a game where I didn't really play that well, and I was like, all right, you know what? Let me just let me send it. And I sent it, and the coach was like, "We'll have him." 2 weeks later, I was gone. 2 weeks later.
Okay, that's good, man.
Yeah. So that was just luck. You know, and I think in some people's career, you need
blessing.
Luck.
Yeah, blessing. You obviously worked for it, so there was something in there that was bound to put you in a position, man. That New Orleans journey, man. How did that all go for you, man? And how did you find it? How was the coach over there? The food, everything, the basketball. What was it like? Because I know from watching documentaries in New Orleans, they're very together community. Like, even down to the music, they're just together.
I thought, there was two things I thought before I went there, yeah? That was, one, I thought I was a rude boy, and two, I thought I was a baller. And then I went there, and I found out I was neither of them. Like, it was, when I tell you about ghettos, it was the murder capital of America at the time that I was there.
Yeah, I saw that about that because that's when I watched that documentary on Master P and the Cash Money guys, and they were telling us as well what it was like there.
Yeah, it was. So when I arrived there, I was at the airport. My assistant coach come and picked me up, took me to the airport. To the apartment, and I was just like, I'm just gonna go for a walk, yeah. So I went for a walk, and like you could go past the block. And it will have like a big mansion. You're like, oh, I'm in a nice area here. Like, yeah, let me just check it out. The next block, there's like 50 goons just out on the street, just watching you walk past. I've never felt so scared, honestly. I'm not even joking. It's like, I was in like situations where I did fear for my life out there. And then the basketball side was like, I remember my first practice, I didn't really play defense when I was younger. Like, I was just all about offense, you know what I mean? So the first thing that the coach got me to do, he put 5 different players from the team on the 5 spots around the 3-point line. And I had to get a stop, 5 stops in a row. But these guys are serious basketball players. Like, I weren't really playing D on players in England, not to talk about. I was there for about 45 minutes, maybe. I couldn't walk anymore. I didn't get 5 stops in a row. And he was just like, sit out for the rest of the practice. I was just like, boy, where am I, man? Like,
boy.
It was tough.
Reality check.
It was really tough, man. Like, I'm not gonna lie, I struggled for at least 3 or 4 months because you're waiting for that one moment where people are like, "Oh, he can play." Do you know what I mean? And what I kind of thought to myself was like, I need to stand out in some sort of area. And what Americans like to do back then was shoot threes or go to the basket. So what I was thinking was like, let me work on a mid-range, and then it's a bit different to everyone else. And then, I was working on my mid-range game, like, relentlessly. And I remember there was one practice, and I swear I didn't miss a mid-range jump shot. And they started calling me mid-range T. And that was like, that kind of, I felt like I was accepted, you know. I was accepted in the group and, you know, stuff like that. And then, you know, it went good from there. So I was at an NAIA school. And then we had an exhibition game against the University of New Orleans, which is D1. And
okay, you was in junior college at the time?
I was at NAIA.
Yeah. Okay, yeah.
I played really well in the exhibition game, and I got the transfer to D1, and it was like, that was just like, yeah, it was just one of the best experiences I've had, because then you're known in a town, like you said, New Orleans is all together, you know what I mean? So the fans, I heard you talk about culture and stuff, the fans at NCAA are nuts. Like, they live and breathe the team, you know.
That's good, man.
So yeah, it was good, man. Like, I thought I was at a point in my career where I don't have to look back. I'm just ready. I'm going straight, you know. But yeah, it was an experience I needed, because it just showed me like how big basketball is over there. For every one good player here, there's about 1,000 over there. You know what I mean?
1,000 over there. Yeah, you could imagine that.
To like scrimmages where people ain't got colleges and stuff, and they're bussing like D1 players, you know. And it's like, it's different. It is completely different, man.
That's dope, man. That's dope. So after that, you came back after New Orleans, then.
Yeah. So after New Orleans. So I didn't actually finish at uni. Like 2 weeks before I was supposed to go back, my coach called me, and he was like, I've got some really bad news. He was like, we're not accepting any more international players. So I was like, this is 2 weeks before. And this has happened to me many times in my career. Like 2 weeks before the season, you couldn't have told me like it was in like before, you know, like just give me a heads up. So I was in London, and I was like, boy, do I try and force it and go to another college? But it's a bit late. And that's when Jeff Jones hollered at me, and he was like, he heard I was in London and I was back, and he saw me play when I played for Tees Valley Mohawks. He was like, come to Manchester. So that's when I went to Manchester. And
so that's the story then. Stories I heard, you went to Manchester because of your history back at home, but really you went to Middlesbrough.
I went Middlesbrough. Yeah.
Then New Orleans, and then Manchester.
Yeah. So, like I said, when I went to Manchester, after that playoff final, like, hearing Namo shout you out at Midnight Madness and all of that, it's like...
I think that's when I first saw you. I think that's when I first heard about you, Midnight Madness, because I didn't know about you before then. Because when I was growing up, there was obviously my brother, growing up around my brother, was a lot of pro-am players and all that. So I grew up knowing Uric and Damien, Laken, Marvin, all of those. And I think after one of the Midnight Madness, so I heard about Tanner, and then I was like, Tanner, who's that? And he was, you not heard about him? And then I saw you there, I was like, okay.
I didn't think that I really was respected as a baller. Before then, I wasn't in any England teams. I wasn't like, and I get it, because I weren't from a team that was known, you know, like Hackney. you know the players are from Hackney, and they help each other out like they should when they get older, and you know, like you hear about Oggo and Deng helped Oggo, and you know, so I got it, but at that point I was like, I can actually play, so like, you know I'm not from, you know, South, like Narmo and them lot, but like at least like appreciate my game sort of thing. But yeah, that after that it was like I started. We had a tryout, right, with Milton Keynes, me and my boy Carl Henry. So Carl Henry, he played in the same conference as me at NCAA, but he played for Jackson State, right? So we're two D1 athletes, and we come back and we try for Milton Keynes with Vince. And when I tell you, like, we bust up their Americans in a practice.
Vince from London Lions.
Yeah. He was at Milton Keynes before. So we did really well in the practice against their Americans. And Vince said, yeah, we want to take you. But they offered us £400 a month. And we had to coach for it. And we had to coach for it. Right?
And you had to coach for it.
Yeah, so it was like, yeah, I've made my name in D1, but I haven't really made it in BBL. So luckily, Essex Pirates was created, and the whole ethos around Essex Pirates was to allow English players to show that they could play in that league, right? Yeah. So if you look, and that it served their purpose, because in the BBL, that after that season, and that was with Walid and people like that. After that season, like I was the highest scoring like English player. Like it was me and Julius Joseph, and made the all English team, and I was able to move on from that. You look at Jamel Anderson.
He was good. He's not even been overseas, but he's made a name for himself in his country, man. He's developed very well.
So he gave him the platform. He gave Miles Hessen the platform, because
that's dope.
He was on our team. He gave.
So wait, Essex Pirates, did they ever go D1 by any chance?
D1.
Did Essex Pirates go D1 at one point when they left the BBL?
No, they didn't. No, they just defunct. Because at the beginning, it sounded like it was great because we were sponsored by Audi. So it was like, are we going to get Audi cars? Like, Walid was like, I'm getting an Audi car, bro. Very rare. And it just didn't turn out like that. But it served its purpose, you know. So we were there. And so Miles Hessen, Zach Gachette, who played for Sheffield, Colin Singh, who played for Sheffield. Loads of people that got a career after that year. And we didn't do too bad. We won about 10 games with just English players, you know. Marcus.
That's good. Marcus played there as well.
He come there. And then that was weird for me because I was the main player on that team. And then Marcus come, someone that I used to look up to so much. And it was like so weird that I was kind of the main player and he wasn't. Because he just come back from his Achilles injury, right? So
yes, I remember that.
He was just getting back into it. And it was like...
And that was unfortunate for him. Because that Achilles injury happened to him in Germany. He was trying out in Germany.
Yeah.
And literally, I think this went bang, and that was it. It was just like, fuck, you know. I do remember rehabbing with him. Yeah.
He helped us a lot because we won about 3 or 4 games before, and then when he come, we won there were 7 or 8 extra games. Like, we beat some big teams as well with just English players, you know. Dean Williams was on our team as well.
Did you have that one American as well? Iceman or something like that? Or was he Virgin Islands guy?
Virgin. He was British Virgin Islands. Randy George.
Yeah.
He was sick. He was nice. Rock. So he was like, he wasn't English, but he had an English passport. So he was like, still English.
One of those guys,
But yeah, it gave us the platform. And that was like, again, any team with Walid Mamouni, it's just joke the whole season, you know. So that was really good, and that actually got me into the England team, the England setup.
Okay.
Yeah.
The England team, man. Talk us through that. By the way, if it logs us out, we'll just come back in again.
Yeah. No worries.
Yeah, so if it logs us out, we'll come back in again.
Yeah. The England team, obviously, it's probably like the biggest honour you can have to represent your country, you know. So
yeah.
But it also opened my eyes up to a lot what I can do with my career, because I always had bad knees, right? And it's funny enough, that season in Essex Pirates, I got sent to a world-renowned professor or whatever, and he actually told me I had arthritis in my knees, and he said I only had 2 more years left to play.
Yeah.
So it was like, I was just not hearing it. I was like, nah, I'm playing, you know, I'm just going to play.
Regardless.
Yeah, so, but when I got to the England team with Paul James, and I realised the workload that you have to do, like Paul James would do a 3-hour practice session of like full speed before playing a game later on in the day. Picture this, yeah? So my knees are bad anyway, and I'm having to chase around Ogo and Justin Robinson at practice for 3 hours and then expect to go and play a game. Like, that's not fair. That's not fair, you know? So, but it kind of made me think like, maybe my knees won't allow me to play at the highest level, you know?
Yeah.
But I can just do what I can do, like, with basketball, whatever it gives me, sort of thing. But it was a wicked experience. We went to France. We played in a tournament against like Ivory Coast and all these African countries, and that's another story. Like,
Africa's big over there, man.
At this time, right, coaches were starting, like, especially with Tim Lewis at Essex Pirates. He wanted me to become like a combo guard, so I become a point guard as well.
As well as shooting guard,
yeah. So I was playing point guard for England because Justin and Ogo, they left to join their next club or something. And we played.
I think they were going to America back then.
Yeah, in America. Yeah. So we played Ivory Coast, and when I tell you, they had this point guard that would literally D you up 94 feet the whole game, right? And for me, like, my fitness levels were not up to the scratch. Like, that was one of my worst games, you know what I mean? It was one of my worst games. Like, I was turning over the ball, the guy was in my face like that, and I used to like talking crap as well, but I was like, I can't even say anything to this guy. This guy won't even leave me over the half court, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it was tough, man, but I had like a really good game against Lithuania when we nearly beat them by 6. I think they beat us by 6.
Oh yeah,
we nearly beat them.
Shooters,
and I had
man.
a really good game. Yeah, and at this time, like, I was getting harassed by the coach at Plymouth Raiders, right? When I tell you, this guy was calling me off the chain while I was on England camp, all of this. He's like, we've got this amount of money for you. I was like, nah. And again,
Plymouth,
Plymouth Raiders. And again, at this time, I had a really good friend. We call him Uncle Keith. But he used to play in the BBL, and he kind of acts like an agent for people, but just at his own time, sort of thing. And he was like, don't take nothing less than $3,000. Don't take nothing less than $3,000. If you do that, you're just you're killing yourself. So he kept on calling me, got to a figure I was happy with, and then I signed for Plymouth Raiders. But that was probably one of my worst decisions, because I had offers from Guildford, Heat, or Surrey Scorchers, because Creon was there. Sheffield Sharks, Katiba Lions was like interested in taking me. But I heard about Plymouth and how good it was. So I chose Plymouth, and the money was good. So, you know, when I went there, it's different down there. I'm telling you.
I've been there before, you know. I've been to...
That's how
that? Yeah, I went there before because Ishmael mentioned it. Ishmael said, because it's the only professional team they got there in Plymouth. He said Plymouth basketball is like the thing there, man. So they got a big fan base.
Even when they were D1, they weren't even BBL before. They're D1. They used to sell out their crowd, and they had a good facility. But it was like you were a Premiership footballer. We'd come back from a game in our tracksuits, and we'll walk into the most plush club, like in our tracksuits and stuff. It was like that. It was like that.
Damn.
So I really enjoyed it at the start. And basically, my first 2 games I top scored, right? Our first league game, I hit a game winner to win the game against Worthing. So I was doing well, you know. And then all of a sudden, like player coaches, some of them are good and some of them are like...
Oh, you had a player coach then?
Yeah, it was a guy that used to play at Plymouth as well. And like everyone knows, I like to go out, innit? So we used to go out a lot, you know. But I started getting blamed for things that I weren't even doing. Like, Tanner, why was there a house party and rare? And I was like, it's not even at my house. Like, I weren't there. Like, how am I getting blamed for it? And then me and the coach started like butting heads. And I remember there was a game, and it was our first Sky Sports game, for Plymouth anyway. And it was against Creon and Surrey Scorchers. And he dropped my minutes from 35 to 14. And for what reason, I don't know. Because if you're going to do it because I'm playing rubbish, then fair enough. But I was playing good. I was leading in like assists and points at that point, like for the team.
Yeah.
So after the game, it nearly blew up. Like it nearly come to blows. Like I was angry. Like I'm passionate, like about certain things.
Yeah, definitely. Obviously, you take responsibility. If you're not playing good, fair enough. You take responsibility. But if you're playing good and you're winning or you're doing something, you know what I mean? Like, are you gonna just bench, man? I don't get that.
Exactly. So what ended up happening is I left there, and then I went back to Essex Pirates, and Essex Pirates at that point hadn't won a game the whole season. So I was like, do you know what? Like, let me just go back there and then stack up my stats and see if I can get out after that.
Yeah.
And then went back. We won a couple of games, but it wasn't the same. You know, I got Wally to come back, and Sam Tolawasi was still there, but it wasn't the same. So that was when I was like, do you know what? I'm about to take a hit again. Like I did with Essex Pirates, I took a hit and got a move to Plymouth. But I was like, I'm going to do this in Europe. So Walid had an agent, and he played in Serie C a couple of seasons before he came. So I hollered at the agent, and he got me a team in Serie C, which is a low division. But I was like, I just want to get out there. Do you know what I mean? Just get out. I think
name out there,
talking about that as well, wasn't he? He was like, he went to a lower league.
Yeah, he did.
Yeah. So
he went to a lower team in Germany as well. He just basically, like you're saying, get the name out there and get your stock up a bit.
Yeah. So I went over there, and then I'm not gonna lie, it was boring, man. Like, because where I was in like a little town just outside of Milan, but people didn't speak English. I remember the first day I got there, I went for a walk. It was like a ghost town, and then I was like, boy. And then I saw my team, and I was like, I don't know, man. I don't know about this. The team was dead team.
Oh, damn.
There was no one. So I ended up like, I led the league in scoring and stuff like that.
That would have been a good idea, though, yeah.
Yeah, so I got lucky again, and I was at home, and I stayed with my teammate, and my teammate was a bit younger. I was sleeping, and I heard like an English accent. So I was like, why is there an English guy in my house? Like, what's going on? So I went out, started speaking to him. He knew everyone that I knew, and apparently he was an agent for quite a big agency. They're called 2 Points Agency. So I know they represent Justin, they represent all these different people. And he was like, listen, like, let me come to watch one of your games. So I was like, all right, cool. So he come, and me and him just become friends. So then he started taking me like into Milan, like the real Milan.
Okay, so you went in, so he took you to places. Yeah.
Yeah, he started taking me out. Like we were going out with the Olympic Milan team, and like I made friends, and like he got me a tryout at A2 squad. So it's like
A2.
Yeah, it's A2 in Milan, and I did well. And then ended up getting picked up, and that's when your salary goes. Let me just tell you something as well. C2, right?
Yeah.
I made just as much money in C2 as I did in the BBO, and that's their 5th league. That's
their 5th league.
Yeah. So
wow.
But then when I went to the A2 team, the money went from like here to. I was just like, wow, I don't even know what to do with this monthly salary sort of thing. Like,
say that way.
You don't have to pay for anything. They pay for your house. Everywhere you go are sponsors.
They take care of you. Sorry about that, guys. It cut us off.
Everything Chris. Everything Chris. Everything Chris. Everything Chris. Everything Chris. Everything Chris. Everything Chris.
I'm Chris G, host of Everything Chris. Hope you liked that video. If you did, click that like button. Also leave a comment. And also, if you want to see more, click that subscribe button to get a notification when we upload new content every single time. I hope you enjoyed that video, and I hope you stay tuned for some more. And also, as you know, with me, everything's always Chris.